You've probably seen the recent reading on inflation in Canada. I want to give you a little bit of history on that alarming trend. So what we saw recently is inflation is at 4.4% right now. This is a really steep rise from where it has been recently. And in fact, if you go back quite a ways, we've been in a range of 1% to 3%. So inflation has gone up and down, but it's been within that small range. And there was a time in 2003 where we had a bit of a blip, but it still was within that range. You have to go all the way back to 1992 to get to this point. Now before that, in 1990, we were up here at 5% inflation. And if you go back a few years into the 80s, we were up here at 10% inflation. So the key is that we've been in this range here for 30 years. And we've now broken out of it, and that's very important to know. It's interesting to note that Justin Trudeau's father, Pierre, was Prime Minister for about 16 years, from 1968 to 1984. Now, Pierre Trudeau believed in big government, big spending, and big deficits. Does that sound familiar? This generous fiscal policy led to some serious inflation. In the 50s and 60s, Canada had a very stable debt and inflation position. By the end of the Trudeau Sr.'s reign, Canada had a persistent annual deficit with a massive accumulated debt, and this led to inflation rates above 10%. What about his son Justin? He also believes in big government, big spending, and big deficits. Under Justin Trudeau, government spending has increased by nearly 50% since Stephen Harper, from about $290 billion to $440 billion, which brings us back to inflation. Canada's current inflation rate is 4.4%, and we will end the year with inflation at a 30-year high. Gas prices have risen by almost 33% in the past year. Food prices are up by 4%, and shelter is up nearly 5%. The fact of the matter is that Canadians are struggling right now. I've been hearing from everyday working Canadians that they're having to choose between filling up their tanks with gas to go to work or buying groceries. Massive spending and skyrocketing debt from the Liberals have contributed to our working class being left in the dust as inflation rips into our economy. Trudeau said this last election was the most important since 1945, a pivotal, consequential moment. I want to be in Ottawa developing solutions to this crisis. Apparently, the Liberals do not. What we need now is to get our economy running on all cylinders again so that we can get Canadians back to work and help small businesses recover. Families shouldn't have to choose between filling up their car or buying groceries. My hope for the next Parliament is that the Prime Minister will start focusing on regular Canadians and small business owners and have a plan to fight inflation. We can't keep going down the same path.